I'm going to read a declaration from Dr. Pt6, current professor at Denmark University and former scientist at UC Berkeley. This concerns Dr. Rash Ghosh versus the City of Berkeley et al. I, Pt6, a PhD physicist and research scientist at UC Berkeley, have been a tenant of Dr. Rash Ghosh nearly 2 years. This letter was written in 2014. I've had the opportunity to observe Dr. Ghosh, his daily activities, and his tireless work on the world water crisis, and I am impressed with his dedication and devotion, despite ongoing harassment by the City of Berkeley. I've witnessed such harassment pertaining to my apartment at his property at 1248A Ashby Avenue, where I've been living quite happily without problems. I have a small studio apartment where the electrical heater was functioning with no problems. But I observed that the city required Dr. Ghosh to do new electrical work, which ended up being bulky and ineffective, and which required significant investment on Dr. Ghosh's part. PG&E also contributed to the problems by not expediting the new service connection and accusing me of stealing electricity, which was an absurd claim. My bill was increased significantly as a result of the alleged stealing, a time in which I was out of town and used little or no electricity. PG&E required me to provide all my personal information for a lengthy investigation, which kept my apartment hostage without power for a week. But I was never provided the results or an explanation. I provided a detailed letter to Dr. Ghosh about this matter, and I authorized him to use it to support our case. The purpose of this declaration is to bring to the attention of the Honorable Judge of the San Francisco Federal Court that I discovered that the City of Berkeley targeted Dr. Ghosh, a senior scientist. I did not understand why, but later discovered that he had won a civil case against the California Environmental Protection Agency. Since that time, he has had trouble with the city regarding non-existing zoning violations. As I continued my research, I found that the city targeted Dr. Ghosh to obtain his property and give it to their developer friend, Rob Richardson and Yeng Corman, at a price of $265,000, well below market value. The city also kept a deposit Rash had made of $177,000 supposedly for repairs, and it was never used for that. In general, the city does not enforce code violations regarding nuisances, according to a study by Gregory Harper. In one case, the community was forced to seek relief, but the court failed to impose receivership. The city passed stronger zoning laws in 1999. Those were used inappropriately against Dr. Ghosh to seize his property, while a nearby well-established drug house that had been there some 2 decades was not targeted. Please see the Alameda investigative report detailing this. Similarly, the city has not taken any action regarding the Pacific Steel toxic waste site. It was determined to be a public nuisance and created a toxic environment. The city also regularized the unpermitted and illegal work done by Mr. Ryan Lau, a zoning board member at his property. He's still working for the city council member, Darryl Moore. Attached also is the letter of Nobel laureate Charles H. Towns, who tried to help Dr. Ghosh retain his house and the nonprofit facility at 1700 Dwight Way at the intersection of 2507 McGee. The property clearly was indicated that it was at 1628 Park Street, owned by a Caucasian, was converted from a single story into a 4-story residence without using a licensed contractor, architect, or structural engineer. But in the case of Dr. Ghosh's property, despite the use of the best available qualified professionals, including the best architects and licensed contractors, Dr. Ghosh lost his property due to so-called code violations. I declare under the penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct to the best of my knowledge.
A letter to Dr. Fuchs, Department of Toxic Control. Dear Dr. Fuchs, thank you for the offer of the professional staff position in the department's technology certification program. I accepted your offer. Also, I confirmed that I will join your group on April 1st, 1997, as you requested in your written offer. I notified my supervisor in the site mitigation branch chief yesterday. My supervisor provided me with employee clearance forms that I can join you on April 1st as scheduled. I'm looking forward to meeting you en route on Friday, March 28th at 10 a.m. as scheduled to discuss my future projects. I'm excited about this opportunity to work with you. Many regards, Rash B. Ghosh. To Ms. Barbara Cook, Chief, North Coast Cleanup and Operation Branch, Department of Toxic Substance Control. Dear Ms. Cook, request to approve Rash B. Ghosh's reassignment to Technology Certification Program. Thank you for the opportunity to meet with you on Friday, March 28th, 1997, to discuss my reassignment offer, copy enclosed, for me to work with HML in the department's Technology Certification Program. During our discussion about my reassignment, you stated that the Deputy Director could reassign me with no problem. You further stated that recently several reassignments occurred in the DTSC for forwarding EEO memo from Dolores J. Owens, encourages employees to reach him directly and to share their concerns, copy enclosed, with him. Therefore, I contacted him to expedite this reassignment. During my telephone discussion with Mr. Blaze on Tuesday, he stated that he worked on the site mitigations budget that morning, and due to budget restraints, he has to lay off some employees. I requested his help, and he indicated that I should also talk with you. Therefore, I am waiting to discuss this matter to make further progress about my reassignment. I requested you to reassign me to HML. My reassignment could be 1 year or longer or shorter. You stated that you could reassign Miss Barbara Cook, page 2, April 4th, 1997. Me for a short period because you are concerned of losing position. I found out that you will not lose my position according to state law. My reassignment will be beneficial to site mitigation, which will save my salary, as my time will be paid by the department's certification program projects, and protect my position. This will immensely help both the site mitigation budget, including fulfilling your own recent commitment to me about my upward mobility, and myself to grow in the technical area and utilize my expertise. I'm waiting to meet you up on your return from your vacation. I'm worried about my future career and health due to continuous bad treatment. Therefore, I am making effort to avail this opportunity, requesting everyone's help to convince the site mitigation management to expedite my reassignment. According to the California Code 19050.8, the board may prescribe rules governing the temporary assignment or loan of employees within an agency or between agencies not to exceed 4 years for purposes including to provide training to employees, to enable an agency to obtain expertise needed to meet a compelling program or management need, and that an employee participating in all that arrangement shall have the right to return to his or her former position. Any temporary assignment shall have the right to return to his or her own former position, and temporary assignment or loan of an employee made for the purpose specified in subdivision shall be made only with the voluntary consent of the employee. I shall be pleased if you would kindly approve my reassignment immediately and allow me to join the Technology Certification Program of Biomediation, where my expertise would be better utilized. Your approval of this reassignment would be beneficial to all parties involved. I look forward to hearing a favorable response from you soon. Sincerely, Rash B. Ghosh.